What's up, everybody? Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday, middle of the week. Well, we are nearly, the weekend now, so everybody should be happy because the sun is once again shining, but we can't go anywhere. But at least for those who have garden or balcony, maybe you can do a small barbecue or something, then just utilize your lovely free time and enjoy this private time of you and your loved ones, and that may not be a bad idea. So good morning once again, and if you don't know who I am, my name is Jimmy Cheng, and I'm here doing a daily live stream every morning between 11 to 11:30 a.m. GMT London time, Monday to Friday on Facebook, and also have a dedicated photography talk on my YouTube channel, Red 35 Photography. And if you don't know, and I'm going to bring up the link right now, so this is it, and you will see basically my channel. And remember, it's 3 p.m. today. We're going to do a live stream and at my YouTube channel as well. So let's close it now and start talking about in general. So like, you're not familiar with my live stream, I usually have a schedule, small schedule, just trying to keep things more structured and organized instead of me rambling away, although I do still ramble a lot and talk a lot of rubbish, but bear with me, and this is live, so it's a little bit difficult than a scripted video or edited video. And so this is basically what is going on today. Oh, hang on a second. I thought I changed the topics. Apparently I didn't change the topic. Well, okay. So basically this is what the structure looks like. So basically usually it's a general update and I talk about, you know, myself, my family in London in general, what's happening going around in the UK. Then I'm going to talk about a subject of the day, which is not talking about taking more than travel snap, because that was actually done yesterday. So I'm going to talk about today is photography personal. Okay, and then let me just put this, change it now. Yay, there you go, there we go. Oh, we'll change it now. So now we have a proper topic of the day. And finally it will be Q&A. And of course, if you have any question whatsoever, you can ask me when I'm talking, and you can just fire away. If I can see the answer, see the questions, and I'll bring it up and I'll talk about it. So there is not really a very structured, rigid way of doing the live stream. I'm just going to react to whatever you guys ask me in real time. If I see it, that's it. And okay, so what's happening today? Well, for yesterday, since my last live stream, is that pretty much the same. Although that, you know, we heard the news about China now. Wuhan is of course now. The lockdown is completely lifted, so people can finally leave the city as long as you are healthy. You got this green code thing on your smartphone or whatever, and so that's quite good. You know, at least we can kind of see the end of the tunnel for them, and that would mean that we should be experiencing the same thing in the coming weeks. So this is something I guess everybody wants right now, is to be able to go outside, just be normal once again, and I cannot stress how much I wanted to do that. And even though I don't know I'm not entirely certain about the long-term or medium-term economical impact, you know, in terms of you know, general businesses and things like that, whether my clients are going to flood back in, you know, later in the year. I mean, I have to remain to see. You know, I cannot say it's too early to determine anything, but I guess one thing at a time. If I can get out, at least I can shoot outside, at least I can go out and continue my filming stuff, and that would be awesome. Okay, and let's see then what else going on though. Apart from that, I think UK didn't have much update. We did have a rise of you know, the DIE figures, which is about 768, I guess. So everybody who did UK would know that already. People around the world, if you don't know, then I'm telling you now, is just under 800. So it's on the rise, definitely. We're following kind of Italy's curve at the moment, so that's kind of scary, you know, if you look at the numbers. But touch wood, I'm just hoping that, you know, the curve is going to flatten out very, very soon, and everybody is going to be healthy and happy. So there we go. Good morning, Peter. I'm good, and how are you? And yeah, guess welcome. This is Peter, and hopefully you guys will know Peter by now. That he is, of course, my fellow Olympus visionary, and based in Finland. They also have some sort of lockdown where is the country that? Sorry, where is the city you're in? Helsinki, isn't it? Right? I can't remember exactly. And so Peter is an awesome guy. You know, he also has a really brilliant channel in YouTube. So I'm going to put the link in the description afterwards, so you can check out his stuff as well. He's all about Olympus. So if you don't know anything about how to set up your cameras or how to do things with your cameras, and he's a guy to look to. You know, I'm more of a generalist, and I'll talk about things. Basically how to capture better photo composition kind of thing. You know, that I'm used to generally talking about that. Helsinki, yes, I got it right. Cool. Anyway, so let's go back to the general updates. So that basically it, and there's not much more to update apart from the general things that you may. Oh, 1 second. I have a parcel, I guess. Just 1 second. Thank you. Fuck. Great. Okay, apology for my disappearance, and I'm still sweating, my God. Well, yes, London is getting warmer, that's for sure, but that's my parcel from Hong Kong, and so I can't wait to open it. But it's a general practice these days. Whenever I receive a parcel, I just leave it by the door for about 2 days, you know, because apparently from the research, people who have studied viruses should not survive on cardboard boxes or plastic more than 24 hours or 48 hours. So I'm going to leave it there for 2 days before I can open it and then see what that is. So back to today's topic. Is photography personal? Right. I think it is. Right, first of all, there are a few things I want to tell you about why I would say that is that just 1 second, I'm just trying to bring up some images there, and oh, it's really strange. I prepared a lot of stuff yesterday, but then apparently that is disappeared. Okay, and I think I know the reason why. Okay, sorry, I need to sort out some technical difficulties here because I'm setting different scenes at the moment. I have 2 scenes going on. I have 1 scene for YouTube and 1 scene for Facebook, and then I think the 2 got mixed up. That's why all the folders and all the images is basically completely changed. And let me just see if I can find out what that is. Yes, it is. That's got completely mixed up. Okay, well, never mind, and let's see what happened then. Right, okay. So I just want to bring up some photos just straight away. Of course, you know, if you think about, hi, Roman, good morning. So basically, what I was saying is photography is personal, at least to me anyway. You should not be taking photography as a medium or as a vehicle to show yourself to the world. Well, actually, no, I put it wrong. And to gain recognition, because that comes later. You know, I think that first of all, you have to satisfy yourself as a photographer. You know why you're doing it, and then you have to answer that question yourself. You know, and or what you're doing, is it really something that you really enjoy doing? And because without that passion going on, you know, it shows in the photography. You know, and if you see someone's photo, if you see something going on, you can actually kind of feel. This is something that he or she really enjoys or likes to do. If you're forcing yourself to take a photo just because, yeah, I'm entering a competition, I'm belonging to this landscape group, I have to take something to show them, right? So this is something that you are satisfying other people rather than yourself. So I really kind of want you to understand, you know, when you take a photo or before you pick up a camera, think about it, why you're doing it, and what you should be doing is something that you should be enjoying to do. Like if you like portrait, you like people in general, you like to talk to them, you like to snap their face or you know, portraits, then maybe portrait's your thing, or you just like to walk around, hike around different valleys and mountains and things like that, and you just enjoy the scenery and you just like capture those beauty. Landscape photography it is, or you just simply want to do, just walking around, strolling around the street, looking for some unusual moments and stuff like that. Street photography. So this is, you really have to ask yourself, and I know it's very easy, especially it's digital cameras these days. You're probably thinking, oh man, it doesn't cost anything. As long as you've got a digital camera, chuck a memory card there, you can probably take thousands of photos and without any costs, unlike the film days. And yeah, it is true. But then again, you're diluting everything. I'd rather you have one or two really, really sharp knives in your pocket than having a lot of knives, but all of them are blunt. So, I don't know if you know the analogy there. It's just making sure that you really know what you're doing. So when people start coming to you or start recognizing your work, then they will know, like, let's say if they see these photos, oh, I know who shot that photo because he's really great at those stuff. This is the recognition you gain after you master your skills and craft. So this is something I'm kind of trying to highlight to you guys. So that's why I say, like, it should be personal. You shouldn't be really doing it for other people. And like for something like these sort of shots that I do, sometimes a little bit quirky when I do street photography, is I just like to see human reactions in general. This is something I really enjoy. Like a lot of photos that you see that I posted for the last few couple of weeks now, and I have that kind of styles going on. Is always trying to capture the almost like a third party observation photography, kind of, yeah, that sense. So hopefully you kind of understand what I'm trying to say there. Let's try and get another photo there. So like if I do go out, and I usually take a series of photos. That's another thing I haven't really mentioned is I rarely trying to just look at one photo. Even if I go on exhibition, if I go to see my friends who are photographers, I don't look at just one. I look at multiple photos, and if they want to show me, I often ask them, can you show me the before and after photo, or can you show me like the whole series of photos that you capture on the day? Because I want to see how you see the world. And one photo doesn't always tell the story, and it's hard for people to interpret everything just from one photo. That's why when people go to exhibitions, you always see a whole series of stuff. Of course, there are different types of photography there. Environmental portrait, it can be one photo because you try and absorb the entire personalities into one photo by including the environment he or she works in, or some of the reaction from other passers-by, whatever, some sort of other elements outside of the subject, him or herself. So that could be quite difficult, but that's a challenge, and I also enjoy environmental portrait. But what I'm saying is, take a series of photos that kind of tells the entire story, as well as just one single photo. So when you post, I would like to read the whole thing, because I often can't really comment just one photo, for instance. So this is a couple of photos that I took in Brighton, maybe a couple of years ago. Once again, just a contrast of this is the burnt pier in Brighton. There's a very iconic piece now. A lot of people go there. They kind of ignore it these days, just because it has become. Oh, good morning, Paul. I'm very good. And how are you? How are you? Nice to see you, Paul. So sometimes you just see these sort of images and we just say, oh wow, that's quite great contrast. Although this pier is actually rotting away now. I'm pretty sure in the next 10 years, this entire thing might actually collapse. I think that at the moment, government already warned people not to swim close to it, because it is a dangerous structure. Like it's rotting away, it's rusting, things could collapse anytime. You just don't know when. So we don't want any accidents happen. But looking at that, it's just kind of reminds me of the good time when I can actually go out and photograph, and it kind of makes me feel want to go out now. It just kind of, oh man, I'm just hoping this lockdown is over very, very soon. So what about other photos that you do without using your proper camera? Well, maybe something like this. I don't always have my great cameras with me, and sometimes I just have my phone, like nothing more than that. But when you're with your family, you're going out, sometimes you just want to kind of step back, and once again you're taking photo, you're still a photographer, you just want to document things, and there is no right or wrong way or what sort of equipment you should be using to document your family and things. I guess to me, anything that can take your photos, I'm not looking at image quality when it comes to that sort of thing, because it's a memory, it's something that I guess you should be valuing rather than a technical excellence coming from a proper camera. Of course, it would be nice, but depending on where you are, what you're doing, where you're going, and things like that. Yeah, hope that it doesn't last for long. Absolutely. Hi, Burana. Good morning. Hey, that's good to see some familiar faces. That's awesome. So I'm going to show a couple of other photos. Of course, there's selfie time, and it's always quite good to have selfie time with family, right? So now, kind of like I talked about the personal side of it, in terms of photography, but what about commercially? Well, that is a totally different beast altogether. And the reason I'm saying it is that because I mentioned about photography should be personal, right? So you shouldn't be really taking photo for other people. You should be, if the camera is too bad, you don't see anything there. That is very true. That is very true. I'm not disputing that at all. I like that comment. I'm going to bring it up to you. Good morning, Trevor. And yeah, absolutely, Roman. I'm not disputing. But I have to stress that though, most of the newer smartphones, they can actually take some decent photo in low light, and but yeah, I agree with you. They're still nowhere near the quality as a proper camera. That's for sure. Right, so I was talking about personal photography and also a business now. I'm talking about commercial. So, should commercial photography be personal? Well, that's two elements in there. First of all, when a client approaches you for photography services, let's say wedding or portraits, they would have seen your portfolio. I'm just thinking about more like modern day photographers now, because in the old days, people would basically just walk down to the local studios, to ask for a photographer to provide a service. I could just walk into the studio and ask for, I would like to have a half body shot for my CV or for the company or whatever, or for family. But these days, so often now, a lot of photographers just based online, 100%, there's no studio there, so they relying on people to study their portfolio that they show on screen. If you like the style, that you would contact them, right? So this is kind of like what's going on around the world now. So the studio-based photography services is decreasing, and then online, of course, is exploding. Everywhere is photography now, and so it's something is quite interesting to see that, and you can also understand why what I'm gonna say in a minute, because if people have seen your work, so does that mean that you still kind of trying to satisfy them? Or they actually satisfied with your results, with your portfolio, with your eyes? Right, that's the main thing though, because I would always recommend people to look for, like I'm not sure about me myself, but when people always ask me, oh, how should I choose my wedding photographer, for instance? And I will always say to them, well, look at the portfolio, study them. If this is the sort of style that you really enjoy looking, then he is your photographer. But that's one step, and there are several steps, but the first thing, you have to get through the barrier. You have to like the photos first. But of course, there are people who can fake the photography portfolio. I can tell you a little bit of that later. Is something that you should be aware that if someone does come across the door, start knocking the door and asking for your service based on your photography, then you should be not satisfying themselves, satisfying yourself. Right? Still a personal aspect of it, because you are going there, you're trying to do your thing at the wedding, and don't forget, if you're trying to address to other people, trying to copy other people's style because someone bring up an iPad to show you, and oh, I like these photo, but they didn't mention about your photo, and that you'll be in trouble. And in that case, very often, if these sort of customer come up to me, I would turn them down, because I don't like to copy other people's stuff. If you like those photos so much, why don't you ask those people to take photo for you instead of me? I'm not trying to be cocky or anything like that, just because when I turn up at the wedding, I simply want to be myself as a photographer, to express my photography in my own way. That is a very, very important message to all photographers out there if you're accepting jobs. Don't be too eager to get the job in and satisfy other people. Ultimately you're going to ruin your business, because you cannot develop yourself as a photographer, for instance. So this is really, really something you should bear in mind. Okay, second thing is your personality, right? When it's commercial photography, it's very different, because you have to gel with the client as well, which is very different. At that point, once again, it's personal. And why would I say that? Okay, there is a little bit of a, how would I put it nicely without offending anyone? Shoe shining, maybe a little bit. Well, it's still a business, so you still have to try and get the business as much as you can, because your income, your everything relying on you showing your face and trying to attract that customer, right? So not only they have to like your work, but they also have to you have to have the chemicals going on. As soon as that, you can normally tell for the first 5 minutes once you start talking to them, and if you had that click over the conversation, more likely it's going to work. That happens so often during my wedding days, when I used to go to wedding fair trying to get clients. There's so many people you see or talk to on that day, and there will be people who just walk past you and just asking you silly things. Well, not silly, but then a reasonable question, but non-essential, like, how much is your photography? What do you include? Well, that is too generic. Like, he or she can easily ask anybody in the fair. But also that there are other things, like other people will come up to you, start really chatting to you, start looking through your portfolio, your albums, and start talking very deeply into your photography, and they'll start kind of, oh, really like that, and how did you capture these, and I really like the emotion, blah blah, and then you start chatting, you start to develop a chemical there. This is exactly the same thing for any type of commercial photography. Like if I go to let's say a company, start talking about a filming projects and things like that, he or she has to like you too. You're not just, you want to get the job, but they won't give you the job if they don't like you. Your work is one thing, but they have to like you as a person. And I always think that a lot of our services, photography and filmmaking, are custom-facing businesses, and so that would mean that they have to like you. Your work, of course, is important, but that somehow comes secondary, and that's something I think is really you have to develop as a businessman, because photography business is totally different than a photographer. A lot of amateur, they don't understand that aspect, because they never have to satisfy the client's requirements. They kind of do things for themselves, which I kind of mentioned it earlier, but in a commercial environment it's kind of completely different. However, I did mention that there are some personal aspect that you should still respect and be the core of yourself as a photographer. Right, this is kind of really interesting that I'm talking about this, because I've never expected to talk about this. So I hope you guys have any, I don't know how many comments you have or anything you might want to ask me. I'm trying to see if I have any other photos that I want to show you guys. Yes, I might have this one here. So like wedding, for instance. I still love weddings. I don't do weddings as much as I used to, because I changed my business model, and I'm now doing a lot more filming projects and cinematic projects, and also portraits more than wedding style. I still do occasionally, but I don't advertise myself or trying to grab wedding clients as proactively as before. So I still do it. People know me or refer me that from clients that I worked with before, or if I see something that's quite significant that I think is actually pretty interesting for me to do, then I would do it. But these days it's more portraits and filmmaking for me now. And but I still enjoy it. Every time I go to a wedding, I still laugh. I still have fun. You've seen some of my silly photos before. I'm seeing if I can dig one up, and just me being ultra silly at weddings, but that is a general thing that I do. That I just think that is pretty fun. You know, it's good to have a laugh, right? You know, at the wedding. So I'm just trying to show you another one somewhere, and let me just grab another wedding photos to show you guys. I'm going to talk about another wedding photography at some point, because that's my experience. If you guys want to learn or know more about wedding photography, and I'll do another one just to give you a bit more idea about, you know, how to approach weddings and things like that, and you know, something like this. And oops, I just done something wrong. Oh, I double clicked it. Right, okay, right, and let me just close it down. Okay, it's something like this. I like it. You know, like these sort of very candid moments of wedding photography is something I would do. You know, at any wedding, just the actions going on. The actions is something that I kind of took away when I was doing a lot of street photography. And I guess a lot of wedding photographers nowadays, they are also kind of like street photographers. They love practicing street photography because they want to capture that moment, and this is something that they have to learn to observe at any one time. You know, like it's like a continuous thing. They just have to be aware of the surrounding all the time and to be able to react quick enough. And this is something that many people don't realize how difficult the job is now as modern day wedding photographers, is that you need to react very, very quickly to realize that moment, and to be, and at the same time to be able to capture that without messing it up. This is ultra difficult, I'm telling you. You know, like people don't believe me, people don't realize it, and then how much hard work wedding photographer actually offering. You know, I mean, the service is actually difficult to do. Everyone wants to be a wedding photographer. Everyone thinks that it's easy money. You know, that you charge £2,000 or £3,000, you know, for a wedding. You go up there and do your job. It's not as simple as that. You know, that awareness, that skills, that craft, you know, and also the post-processing. I know UK, I'm not entirely sure about the rest of the Europe, or I know in America, a lot of the wedding photographer actually employ an external editor for them to, they will touch up their photos. So they send them all out after they've done the wedding. So it's different. But in the UK, a lot of my colleagues, you know, in the weddings, they would process the photos themselves. They have their signature color styles and things like that to themselves. So there's a lot of work, you know, it's not as easy. So that, if you break it down, in fact, you know, I think I read about an article about wedding photographers, how much they actually earn per job. And when you break it down into hourly rate, they are actually not that much better off than a bus driver. and that is a fact. You know, like they might earn more money than a bus driver over the course of the year, but the amount of job they accept and the amount of hours they put in and to process the photos and do this and that, if you break it all down, it's actually not that much better. and so there you go. That's some numbers for you. Is some people that may have the misconception about wedding photography is it is a hard work, you know, it's a hard job, and that's probably one of the reasons why I'm doing less and less now. And because first, I just don't have the time because I have a lot of other engagement going on now. But second is it is quite hard, and it's easy to say that, yeah, I want to do it, but when you're growing older, your body is not as strong as before, or your ability to stand for like 16 hours a day, you know, is some work. But lucky that I have Michael Four Third now. So Michael Four Third does help me a lot. But for the last few years, I still do a lot of weddings with Michael Four Third gear, EM1 Mark II, and also the Pen F. I use these two cameras kind of side by side with me, and at weddings in multiple times. But yeah, it's difficult. Let's see what Roman just said here. Let's see. Roman is saying, if you could use medium format or Michael Four Third for a wedding, which one would you choose? And to me, picture look really different. Yes, they do. I am not disputing that once again at all. And this is something that also kind of drag into the conversation about full frame and Michael Four Third. At the end of the day, it's different format. They all have different aesthetics. Whether you can exploit that particular aesthetic, that's another thing, because there are strong points and weak points in each of the formats. I mentioned it a couple of times in my previous streams. First of all, like for instance, Michael Four Third is absolutely phenomenal in group shots, because the deeper depth of field definitely helps to get everybody in focus, or you want to get this very surreal feeling of being inside a venue. Micro Four Thirds is excellent at that, because of once again, the deeper depth of field can get everything in focus, and you don't feel like you're watching a movie. You know, I know some people may like that, but once again, it's a personal choice, personal preference. I prefer that, and the client who choose me prefers to looking at that sort of photos, so that's all good. Then you have full frame, and of course the depth of field becomes shallower. You got this different kind of pop, and the medium format, of course, that's another thing there, especially you're using some sort of the legendary oh, I can't remember, Mamiya, is that a Mamiya lens? The ATF2. That lens is phenomenal. That shallow depth of field would blow you away, because it's using much bigger film negative, and it's shallower. It's almost like a Nocticron, you know, and in Leica terms, like the 0.95. So it's very, very shallow, makes your subject just pop straight away. But then again, do you really need that on every scene? Probably not. For certain portraits, maybe you get a little bit of quirks coming out. You know, you got that 3D pops. So this is something that you may kind of enjoy, but I wouldn't say that you want to do that for every single shot. It kind of makes the whole entire series of photos a bit boring. I wouldn't mind mix and match different things, and once again I always talk about even like on my recent DxO software review. You can check out my YouTube channel, and one thing about DxO good is that they can match of different brands of cameras. If you so happen to be using Micro Four Thirds on one shoulder and full frame on the other, or even medium format on the other hand, on the another shoulder, you can mix and match different brands, but you still get a consistent color output from DxO. That's kind of cool. And but forget about that. You know, I'm just talking about aesthetic in general. You may want to mix and match different things to get the different look in them. Only if you want to. But for me, I just prefer to work with one system at a time, and I used to do that. I used to have my Micro Four Thirds. When I first started with Micro Four Thirds and Olympus, I would mix the Olympus with my Leica, and then my Leica is full frame, so of course it's slightly different aesthetic, especially I'm using 1.4, 1.2 lenses, so very, very different in terms of look. But overall, I just kind of enjoy Micro Four Thirds full stop. So good morning, David. Very good, very good. 10 kilo. No, absolutely not, Roman. Now, that's another thing I hate about using larger format than the Micro Four Thirds. Just look at how tiny this thing is. Just this thing, the whole thing, the lens and body setup is only about what, 600 gram. You know, it's fantastic. You know, it's so good and light. I don't even need to use a neck strap. Just a wrist strap is just fantastic. You know, just kind of like just bam, 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 just go up like this, and people don't even realize I was there. And so that's the beauty of using Micro Four Thirds, I think. If you really kind of want to have something heavier, you know, like if you're young and strong, by all means try it. But until you try the Micro Four Thirds, then you realize how much of a lifesaver it is. Okay, let's see other questions here. Usually, I find wedding job is around a week's work overall. Yep. Trevor, you're right. I usually spend around that sort of time for every wedding. So yeah, if you think about that, you should chop it down to hourly rate. That $2 grand, $3 grand you're charging is actually not enough, because you have to minus the cost as well. You have like professional insurance that you have to get. You have to drive down there, so the fuel cost, the maintenance of the car that you're driving, or you hire a car, whatever, travel, you know, taxi, anything. Then your own expenses, you know, and you know, we need electricity to run the bloody computer to process the photos, and then you will have to buy hard drive to store your photo, and then it's a lot of things going on there. You know, people don't realize all the costs actually incur in wedding photography businesses, and so that $3 grand in fact is actually quite cheap. To be frank, you know, like if any of you guys are from US, I'm pretty sure US wedding photographer actually get paid double the amount of money that we actually get paid in the UK. So I kind of admire and envy you guys, how much money you guys actually earn in the US and the UK. We are quite sad that unfortunately we don't get the same rate. People don't value as much. But having said that, in Hong Kong, it's even worse. So I guess in general in Hong Kong, you're probably getting paid around about 1,000 to 1,200 quid for wedding. Of course, you get the high end stuff, which I'm not talking about high end, I'm talking about average. So give or take, I think US may be one of the best countries to be as a wedding photographer, but at the same time, they're very competitive over there. And I mean, I know a few wedding photographers in the US. They told me how competitive the market is in general. But I'm happy where I am. I already told you that I'm really kind of off the wedding scenes now, and I no longer engage with a lot of my wedding collaborators and things like that. So it's now for me to kind of move on to some other things that I enjoy to do. Like I said, I still enjoy weddings. I mean, I still do. Don't get me wrong. I just something that I don't actively pursue these days. If people do come up to me really asking for my service, then I will still do it, depending. Okay, would you have to click the button for a couple of hours? Right. I don't quite understand what you're saying, Trevor. And do I have to? I don't have to click the button for a couple of hours. Oh well, I guess what you mean. Yes. Yes, but the observation, I guess, is if I'm answering correctly, you may be standing there for the whole day, but you're only clicking for a couple of hours. Is that? I think that's what you're saying. But the thing is, the energy you have to entertain your clients, and then also to keep them occupied, that you are still there, and also at the same time you're observing everything. That energy is cannot be quantified, and the energy you're standing there is almost like a bouncer, kind of. If you're like one of the surveillance police special forces and things, you're just standing there, kind of looking at the scene, like constantly waiting for something to happen. That energy takes you, and then I'm not joking, because sometimes by the end of the day, that is client's perception. Yes, true. That is very true. But it's something that you have to educate them, and that's enough. Maybe I'll do education another stream, because I'm already talking about 35 minutes, 36 minutes already, so it's quite long already. But I guess education to clients is as important as the wedding day itself. I'll tell you why in the next episode. And so this is something I think is really important to understand why that is. But I think overall, yeah, wedding is a very tiring business. People may not realize, but I'm telling you it is. So for those who may want to get into the wedding business, and you just have to prepare yourself, train your fitness, and I'm not joking. Yeah, I used to go running like 10K every day, just to get my fitness up. So yeah, I'm putting on quite a bit of weight now, but before I was pretty fit. Like I mentioned about my travel photography, I was able to carry 20-kilo backpack all the way up to like 3,000 meters up in the mountain to take photographs. Like I don't think I can do that now, just because I'm so unfit. But to be able to a good wedding photographer, like of course you need your skills and your eye, need your creativity there. But if you're feeling tired halfway through, your concentration, your creativity will dip, and that means you may not be able to create the result that you want for your clients at the end of the day. So training as a 30 minutes live cast. I'm telling you, Trevor. Yes, it is. It's live streaming is a tiring thing. I only realized when I started streaming, this is crazy. This is really, really crazy. You just have to constantly engaging. Trying to have the constant talking about things. I think lucky that in general, I like to, ramble quite a bit. I like to talk a lot. Even in front of my clients, I think I can talk a lot. So this is something that perhaps is my plus size when it comes to live stream. I can just talk rubbish all day long. But thank you guys for engaging me, so that will give me some direction as well. So without you engage me, sometimes it's a little bit difficult for me to talk about one subject continuously. And I have things to talk about, but with you guys engaging is always good to be able to have this, throwing back and forth, so that we can talk about things differently. Okay, right. Thank you guys for enjoying my live stream. Very, very happy to see all of you guys. Don't forget, I have my YouTube. I have my YouTube live stream. I'm trying to think in my head now. My brain's suddenly gone solid. Today at 3 p.m., 3 to 4 p.m. So like you guys are all welcome to join me once again. This is 3 p.m. London time, GMT. So depending where you are, so you might have to work out the time differences there. The reason I do it at 3 p.m. is because I want to do it before the dinner for my kids and also after lunch. And also time it that so the US people can follow me as well, and then over to my channel. So it's all good there. So hopefully I can see you guys there later. And there's another topics to talk about in today's Photography 101 live in my YouTube channel. So I'm going to usually put my links on the in my description after the stream, so you can check out all the other stuff that that I used in my setup here today. And so if you fancy, yes, I am using the In1 Mark III 17mm 1.2 Pro to do this entire stream here. Very simple, very cool. And also I have my, there you go. Yep, buy me a coffee link, and so you can support me by clicking that link and buy me a virtual coffee if you wish. So 10 or 11 p.m. time in Busan in Thailand. Yep, no problem. Excellent. So very, very good. We talk about PNF Mark II. We'll do a rumor mill in another video, so we can talk about rumors, of course. I'm not allowed to talk about anything official, or even, you know, I don't think I have heard anything. So you can talk about rumors, and this is something that I could talk about when I see something online as well. But anyway, stay safe, everybody. Remember, stay at home to help everybody out from this spread of virus things, and wash your hand constantly. And yeah, take good care. The sun is shining outside. Hopefully the same where you are as well. And then we all enjoy the day. And I see you hopefully at 3 p.m. today. So until next time, I shall see you soon. Bye for now.